Hello again. We are addressing a couple problems here that has been created by this new engine. Number one is this big red thing right here, this magneto. It's an array of this burn down tube. It no longer will reach that. Now I could just lengthen this hose and make it to that connector, but just running over the top of that magneto is just not right. So I do have a solution for that, and that is to take this tube and run it down and back of the magneto and onto the chassis and go like that. But that means this is no good. So I have ordered a new burn down adapter, and it's closer to the valve cover and comes straight forward. So that really should solve that problem. So that's number one. Number two is this pump comes out too far and it's going to hit the body. So the body's going to have to be cut, and we'll do that at another time also. Number three is the battery used to be mounted here on these connections, and we can't put them there anymore because this pump is going to be in the way, particularly when the fuel line comes off. So and this is where the radiator used to be, and there is no more radiator. So this space is freed up, but then obviously there's no place to mount it. So we got to create a place to mount it. This cross member is extraneous. It was used for the upper mount for the radiator. I have talked with Keith Bergen, Ruman Motorsports, who built the chassis, and he says this is not needed. This was just put in for the radiator. So we can cut this out. And actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut it about 1.5 inches, 2 inches from where it comes out, and that gives me a good mounting point for these fuel hoses and all that stuff. But creates all this free space here. And that allows me to put the remote oil filter somewhere here and the spark box for the magneto somewhere here. This coil wire is plenty long enough to reach down here someplace. So what we got to do is create a mounting point here. And this happens to be all flat, so that works out real nice. And I've played with this quite a bit. In fact, I've made a template. So if I come in like this, and it has to be 2 pieces because I can't get it in like this because of this bar. It won't go far enough back. And because of the taper, it won't go in. So I have to make it in 2 pieces. So this piece goes like this and fits there just like that. And then this piece comes in here like this and fits over there like that. So now I have all this space to mount stuff. I put the battery here, and I can put this remote oil filter somewhere here. Maybe something like that, or something like that. With this thing on, we can move it back, but there's room to put it in there. I kind of like to put it over here, so the spark box goes here, spark box goes there, so that spark plug wire is not too long. But that can be addressed. I can figure out how to do that. So the task today and this weekend is to make these metal pieces, because obviously wood's not going to work. So we're going to make these out of aluminum. And I could have gone 3/16, but I think I'm going to go 1/4 inch. And I just want the strength because it's got to hold this battery here in a vehicle that's going to accelerate from 0 to 200 miles an hour in 7 seconds. So this thing has to be strong. It's got to hold that battery in place. And if there ever was an accident, we don't want it coming out. I do believe there's enough clearance between here and the top of the body. The battery is 7 inches tall, and I've roughly calculated that I have 9 inches of space between the bottom of the body and this. And before I do any finished mounting, I'll bring the body down, put the sides on, put the top body on, and see exactly how much space I've got. Okay, so let's go make this piece. Thank you. So here we have the first test fit of the first piece. And I think that works just fine. Absolutely fine. I got plenty of room around that. I've got plenty of room around that. Nice and solid. Okay, I'll take you on the journey of cutting out the next piece. Well, one of the advantages of making a pattern is you don't waste your expensive aluminum while making this. And this is actually the third iteration in Luan. And I still have to make some adjustments. This piece right here is a half an inch too far back. So what I'm going to do is just slide this forward like this, a ½ inch, and I'll mark that, and I'll slide it over like this so that it's right distance, like that, and slide this down and finish marking that cutout. And then this one here wants to go an inch forward. So what we're going to do is go an inch, and then put the curves on the top. And somebody's at the door. So, more parts for the dragster. All right, now that I'm thinking about this, that line, if I go forward, oh, that should be all right. That should be all right. Actually, I have to go in further. I have to take this in further. No, I don't. That's good. I can always take metal off. So we're going to cut it on those lines and see what we get. So last time I used a hole saw to make those circle, and I'm not sure I can get the hole in the right spot, but that's easier than trying to cut it with a saber saw. So I think we're going to do that. So let's do that. I'll set up for that and bring you back. I changed my mind. I figured in for a dime, in for a dollar. Was it used to be in for a penny, in for a dime? I thought I'd show you how I'm going to try to do this. So what I did is from the bottom of this arc and the bottom of this arc, I drew a straight line across. And I drew these lines so that they would come out 90 degrees from this side. So if I go from the end of that arc, that should give me the intersection point for that hole saw. And I'll leave just a little bit so that if it's wrong, I can grind it out a little bit. That one looks like it wants to go over a little bit more. So I need to do the same thing here, and here, and here, and here. And that should give me the points where the hole saw wants to go down to start its arc, or close to it. And if it's not, then I'll just grind it so it looks right. Got to punch some holes. Not holes, points to start to drill at. And now we got to move to the drill. I'm going to try to use this hole saw to cut the arcs. I've never really had much luck with using hole saws. And if they don't come out in exactly the right spot, I'll draw the line the straight lines from the end of the arc. And this handy dandy guide says 1.5 inches wants to have a speed of 345 revolutions. And the way you adjust speed is with these pulleys on the top here. And if I'd been smart, I would have bought a drill press that has the dial to change the RPMs. It's well worth the effort between the time that you end up spending changing belts, and they slip all the time. So that was a mistake. Although when I bought the drill press, I didn't think I was going to use it that much, and I use it all the time. So let's try. Let's see what we can do here. That's one. It's not exactly right. Now we gotta get the plug out of the end of the drill. You know, if there's anybody out there that knows how to drill holes with hole saws, I'd really appreciate knowing how to do that, because it doesn't seem like it ought to make all that noise. I read up on it. It says you want to put about 80 pounds of pressure on it. You want the chuck tight, and I don't know, it just doesn't seem to work well. You want to lubricate it. Seems to go there pretty good there for the first part. Perfect. Lost the key again. There it is. It's a cut real good right there at the beginning, and then it kind of bogs down. Well, that definitely didn't go where I wanted it to. Well, it was a try. I'll just redraw my line so it comes straight off in a tangent. The hole will be a little bit bigger than I want it to be, but that's the way it goes. Yes. That one cut real nice. Alright, let's go over and redraw some lines. Okay, I'm going to clean these chips up and oil up a little bit so I can draw some lines. Okay. Well, this line should come square off the bottom. Okay. You know, plug this thing in, I don't know how many times, I swear it's more than 90% of the time you plug it in the wrong way. Alright? I'll do this next one, and then I'll get back to you. Or if you want to watch, well, I'll cut it, and then I can always cut it out of the video. Okay, Here we go. Let's see how this thing fits. It actually fits pretty darn nice. And it's certainly going to support the battery. So here's the battery tray. And I really want to mount that like that across. I could mount it like that across. I could also mount it like this. Put it over there. That gives me room for stuff here. I think I'm going to mount it like that. But in order to mount it like that, I could get away with not taking this out. But I'm going to take this bar out. I did call Woo-Man, who built the chassis, and he said it's okay to take this out. This was not structural, this was just to support the radiator, which we've taken out and not going to use anymore. So let's cut this out. Let's go to a point of no return once again. These stupid safety switches. Well, I'd say that's the point of no return. We'll get that later. Alright, and I think these things will fit, we'll see. We'll have to clean those ends up. There we go. Now these things can be used to tie hoses up and power lines and stuff, so that's good. And that comes back in there like that. That comes in there like that. Now I got all that space, and now I can put this right here if I want to, like that, which gives me room for this. Well, maybe I gotta go like that, which gives me room for this. So the lines will come off nice, and then the spark box right there. So maybe that works. So this goes like that, I think. We gotta get that up right down there, so it's gotta go like that. And that'll go in there like that. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that would never have gone in there with that bar, because this bar that comes up here would have hit this crossbar here. So it's got to go, had to go All right. Next thing is to get this mounted in. Okay. Stay tuned for part 2, where we mount the spark box, the remote oil filter, and the battery to these plates. If you liked the video, please hit the like and subscribe. Have a good day.